Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I'm Shireen Pan. There is an intense war on in the luxury car market. BMW has gone to town with its BMW is Joy campaign ever since it surpassed Mercedes in terms of sales in India last year. It's now brought in its new 5 Series to take on the Mercedes E-Class, which has been fairly well received. So Bert decided to get his hands on the diesel versions of both these cars to find out just which one he'll take home, provided he has 50 lakh rupees lying around. Take a look.
On today's show, we've got 2 popular German brands along with us. One of them used to be considered the ultimate in luxury and comfort. The other was considered the ultimate driving machine. So it's but obvious that the Merc was the ultimate for comfort and luxury and the BMW was the ultimate driving machine. But around a year ago, that distinction would have been very clear. Not anymore, and that's because the E-Class has been improved. The current generation has got as good a handling package as the 5 Series, whereas the 5 Series is trying to capture the Mercedes' market share by offering as good ride comfort and luxury. The parallels that these 2 cars once drew are now crossing paths, and that is where our story begins. Mercedes, as usual, have a bit of a head start, having launched the new generation E-Class a few months before the new 5 Series was introduced. But now, BMW seems to have seen some merit in losing the Butch, muscular silhouette and wearing a suit cut from the same cloth as the Merc. And where the BMW is more like an Hermenegildo Xenia, the E-Class is distinctly Savile Row. But the exterior styling isn't entirely about looking good. And while which is more attractive than the other is purely subjective, the design is as scientific as it is artistic. Now most owners would prefer outsiders to stare at their cars while they bask in the luxury of the interiors. And while Mercedes traditionally has cornered that segment of the market, and it still holds the reins, the Mercedes is just a bit more spacious, especially at the rear, though the front seats are not as supportive as the BMW. While BMW have made a superb effort by adopting the 7 Series interior styling and luxury bits, it still falls a bit short to the luxury and comfort offered by the E-Class. So unless you drive your BMW or Merc yourself, you really won't have to bother about the forward cabin area. In the E350 CDI, what you get is a 3-litre turbocharged V6 diesel engine, and it makes about 228 horsepower, but an enormous 540 Newton meters of max torque. And this torque is available all the way from 1600 RPM right up to 4000 RPM. And this gives it incredible drivability both in the city or out on the highway. In addition, you also get a Mercedes 7G-tronic 7-speed automatic transmission. However, BMW outshines that by using an 8-speed automatic transmission, which is a bit more fluid, which is a bit more smoother and more refined. As for performance, the Merc E350 CDI is around 0.3 of a second quicker than the BMW in every performance parameter. But let's not forget that the E350 CDI has a larger and more powerful engine, despite which the entry-level BMW diesel is still a highly competent performance sedan. Earlier, I did mention that Mercedes wanted to make inroads into BMW's market share by offering a car whose dynamics were far better than ever before. And the E-Class does have much improved dynamics. The suspension setup and the geometry has been revised considerably. It's much more stiffer, body roll has been reduced considerably, steering feels more precise, and overall this package can attack corners like only the BMW could. And now, to try out the 5 Series. What you get in the 525D is a 3-litre inline 6-cylinder diesel engine
It's got a single turbocharger, makes about 204 horsepower and 450 Newton meters of max torque. While the power and torque ratings may not be very impressive, you have to remember that this is the entry-level diesel offering from BMW in the 5 Series range. Yet, this engine is very refined. It doesn't have the clatter like the Mercedes does. It is rather powerful, but most importantly, it is phenomenally quick. It does a 0 to 100 in just 7.9 seconds, and that is blazingly fast, especially for a diesel.
The new 5 Series is remarkably different from the last generation car in almost every respect. Yet, for those looking for the ultimate 5 Series, should take a closer look at the 535i, the twin-turbo petrol 5, with the new dynamic and active suspension and steering that makes it highly agile and superbly maneuverable at low or high speeds.
This next generation 5 Series gets a completely new suspension, architecture and geometry, and it's a lot more soft and supple than it ever was. It's the right quality, but I really like it. It's comfortable, it doesn't crash into potholes, it doesn't feel hard and bouncy. In fact, there is a lot of body roll in this car. Yet, it does not lose any of its focused dynamics. It's just as nimble and accurate in corners. Though I do think BMW has engineered a bit too much of ease and comfort in the steering. It does feel light, it does feel a little vague, and I would have liked a bit more precision in it.
Where fuel efficiency matters, the 5 Series clearly outclasses the Merc. And this is despite it also having a lesser power to weight ratio. That means the BMW is just as heavy as the Merc, yet has lesser power to move itself around. And yet, it does not burn excess fuel to do it.
So, to conclude, which between the diesel 5 Series and the diesel E-Class should you choose? Well, in my opinion, I think the 5 Series still has it, but by the narrowest of margins. It still is the performance and handling benchmark in its segment, and then there's the price, which compared to any of the diesel E-Classes is still way cheaper. And finally, there's the ride comfort, which is vastly improved compared to the last generation 5 Series, but nowhere as close to the E-Class, which still is the last word in luxury in its segment. And I'm very surprised by its handling character, which is sharp and edgy, and it's just about there, but not yet.